All right, let's kick off our second session here with Weed and Wellness. We have Carly Rae Cooke joining us again from Ordinarily Honest.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Carly Rae.
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Good. How have you been? What's going on?
You know, just same old, hanging out at home, enjoying I actually am really enjoying the solitude. As crazy as it is out there, I have totally found like this lovely, relaxing home life for myself.
If you're going to go exercise and you're going to do either a yoga practice or a run, or maybe what kind of other exercise do you do, Carly Rae?
I was training for a boxing fight before all of this COVID stuff. And for that, I use a lot of topical THC for my muscles. And then if I go to train, oftentimes I would just use CBD.
Topicals is something that's one way for people to use cannabis who might not want to go get high. They don't want to ingest it. They don't want it inside. They just don't want THC. I hear that a lot from people. Mm-hmm. But I say, well, why don't you try it topically? Especially if you're doing exercise after and you get stiff, it might help you, or even before, to kind of loosen up so you don't maybe get as stiff after too.
I think the fourth kind of series that we do will be about a lot of topicals and things that you can use for other wellness practices and like lots of DIY stuff.
That's a good idea.
Because while we wait for the legal market to catch up with everything else, we can make our own. So but before you're going to go for a run, do you want a higher percentage THC or lower? Like, how do you determine what kind of strain you're going to want to use if you're going to do something more high energy, like running or strength training or kickboxing, or maybe you don't want to use THC for kickboxing, but if you're doing weightlifting, or how do you decide out of the millions of options out there what you want to pair with your practice?
Typically, if I'm doing something a little bit more high-paced or not just laying on my back, I'll go for more of a sativa strain. But again, depending on what I do, that's where the THC and CBD balance comes from. Definitely when I'm doing yoga, tends to be more on the indica side if I want to chill, or more on the sativa side if I'm looking to get a sweat in.
And then what if you're because there's different therapeutic benefits of cannabis at different percentage levels, right? Like if you're looking at the makeup of the particular strain that you're buying, say it's 0 to 11% THC, that's going to be more beneficial for certain outcomes than a higher percentage, which is probably going to be a little bit more maybe sedative, or depending on what you choose, or a little bit more uplifting, or a little bit more of a heady high. Like, Shannon, when you're looking at things and you want to do a meditative exercise versus go run up a hill versus a yoga practice, do you match percentage, or do you just kind of go by taste and feel and terpenes?
For people that are newer to cannabis, don't use it as much, I would say you always use something about 10% or less. For me, I have to watch, because of anxiety, I'm very careful. So I always balance it out, CBD to THC, and I try to keep it at a certain level so that it's just enough elevation that I'm out of my head and I'm feeling good.
I think it's such a personal thing. Our bodies obviously respond to cannabis use so differently. So it's hard to say one way works or the other way doesn't.
Totally. I think experimentation is kind of where you go with it.
That's kind of what I've discovered over this being alone and not having to go to work all day. I've really started to experiment and figure out what level works, what doesn't, all those different things. So I think it's just taking the time for yourself to really dive into your own ritual and make it work for you. Mm-hmm. People kind of get scared off right away if it doesn't work, but really it takes a lot of time. It's
you have to figure out what works for your body. So what works for you might be absolutely terrible for me, right? Yeah. I mean, vice versa. That's why I never say, oh, here's some wonderful different strains for sex or this or that, because it's not going to be, maybe it is for me, but it won't be for you, right? So, yeah.
It's old, low and slow, tried and true.
Well, we're doing, as part of this 3-part series, we're doing a few exercises and things that we're linked to, but we're also doing a giveaway at the end. So there's a code word that we're embedding in each of these sessions. Shannon, I'm going to put you on the spot today, and ask you to come up with our code word.
Code word of the day.
So while you're thinking about that, Carly Rae, would you be willing to take us through a little seated stretch cool down session at the end of this before we say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, so this is just going to be 3 quick stretches that you can do sitting, however you are sitting. So I'm just going to readjust myself. If you're sitting on a chair, you can have like both your feet on the ground with your back up against the back of your chair, or just sitting up nice and tall. And think about kind of grounding your sit bones or your pelvis into your seat, however you're sitting, and then lengthening through your spine as you take a nice big inhale. Good, and settling in here. And then as you inhale on your next one, we'll just float our arms up above our head, get in that nice long stretch. And on your exhale, you can let go and let your arms drop down to your thighs or wherever is comfortable, depending on how you're sitting. And as you let your arms drop, just let your shoulders drop down your back as well. Beautiful. So from here, we're going to be doing, it's called a cat-cow, but this is kind of a variation of it. So it's a seated cat-cow. And essentially, it's just opening up through your chest and opening up through your back. If you've been sitting a lot, this one will be great for you. So with that nice tall spine, as you inhale, you're going to fill your belly up and reach your chest forward, pulling your shoulders back, contracting your shoulder blades together. Nice big inhale. And as you exhale, doing the opposite, pulling your shoulders in front of you, creating space between your shoulder blades and pulling that belly button all the way into your spine. So reaching everything back, really rounding forward. Good. Taking one more breath here. And then we're going to inhale to find our way back to center. Nice tall seat. You can exhale to relax those shoulders. So that's the cat-cow. You can do that as many times as you like, as often as you like. Take it as slow or as fast as you like. Essentially, it's just opening up that chest and then opening up that back. And like I said, you can do it seated or on hands and knees, kind of whatever variation your body is into. Mm-hmm. For the second one, this one will really wake up your body. It's actually a twist. So as we're twisting, we're containing that kind of like blood flow in our spine. And then when we open up, all that energy kind of releases into your body. So it's a great one if you like need a pick-me-up in the afternoon or anything like that. So from your seat, you might, if you're sitting up against like a chair, you might want to pull your hips away from the back a little bit just so you have that extra room. And when you're ready with that nice tall spine, we're going to inhale, our arms go up. Good. And we're turning to the left first. So as you exhale, your arms drop down and look over that back shoulder. And you can use your hands if you're in a chair to kind of dive in a little bit deeper into the twist. Hanging out here as long as you want, and then inhaling on the way up again, meeting in center. Those arms can float up if you want, or you can just keep them down, whatever's comfortable. And we'll exhale down to the right. Again, option to use that chair to get a little bit deeper into the stretch. And then coming back to center. Arms can float up if you want. You can find that nice long stretch. And then give them a shake. And again, with that one, you can use it whenever you want, however long as you want. Totally up to you. And last one, we'll just dive into our necks a little bit because I know mine has been freaking out for like weeks now and I don't know why. Sitting up nice and tall, as you can tell, this is very important in yoga. Just creating that length through the spine so that really everything has that room to move around. So with that tall spine, either sit, take your left hand, you can either sit on it, or if you have like a chair you can grab onto, kind of ground that hand down however you can. And then we're going to take our right hand and drop it down to the floor or drop it down to the side and lean your head to the right. You'll feel a nice stretch through your traps. So we're sitting on our left hand, leaning our head to the right. Breathing into your neck. If you want, you can close up that space on the left side with a nice big exhale and then inhale back into the stretch, and you might feel a little bit more room to breathe. Good. And then we'll take an inhale to come up. And you can shake out that left hand. Find a home for the right one. We'll go on to the right side. So big inhale again. Double check that spine. And when you're ready, you can lean over to the left, feeling that stretch, taking that left hand out if you want. And just breathing here. Again, option to close up that space. And then lengthen it again to see if you've found some more room to grow. And when you're ready, we'll inhale to find center. That's another quick neck one. Something I also do for my neck is just take it in circles. That's always a good one. If you guys are taking your neck, sorry?
My neck has been very stiff today.
Yeah. I like to add it into almost all my classes where we just take our neck in circles, inhaling as we go up and exhaling on the way down. And then I just let people know if they find or feel like a pinch, just sit there for a little bit and take some nice big deep breaths. And oftentimes it'll just slowly release and hopefully that'll ease away some of that neck pain. Yeah, those are the stretches for today.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Shannon, are you ready? Do you have the code word?
Vibes, because we were talking about vibes, so we're doing vibes.
Good one.
That's a very good one.
I like it.
Me too. Well, thank you so much for doing our second session with us, Carly Rae.
Thank you, guys.
And we're going to be doing another one next week where we talk about all sorts of ways that we integrate wellness into our life and cannabis in it. So stay tuned for that and for the last secret code so you can be entered to win the giveaway.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Oh, and don't forget to check out Carly Rae at Ordinarily Honest, and there is a link in the description details below to send you to additional videos of hers. So if you'd like to carry on your practice, please do.
Yeah, join me for some yoga.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.